Hey, everybody. I'm CJ Lemaster, your host for the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk and your lead investigative reporter here on WLBT. And we are coming to you a few minutes early today because we are getting ready to start with a news conference with federal and state officials regarding that Leland mass shooting that we have been covering since it erupted late Friday, early Saturday. I want to show you kind of what we're seeing right now. This is live from Leland as our crew is getting set up there and getting ready to get this underway. As you can see right now, we are outside downtown, right there off of Main Street in downtown Leland, as officials get ready to get everything started today. And I want to remind you that, of course, this is a story that we have been following since, my goodness, it's been a minute now, since almost a week at this point. This is Thursday, October 16th. And we're showing you footage now from our Quentin Smith, who was still able to see evidence on the scene whenever he went there. And then, of course, here's some video from some of the investigators that are still there on the site. As we know at this point, there were 16 people in all shot here. 6 died. 10 injured, varying degrees of injuries. And we can tell you that there have been 5 arrests thus far. The FBI made those announcements earlier this week. Tevion Powell, William Bryant, Morgan Lattimore, Tarajanal Martin, and LaToya Powell. 4 of those individuals, basically all of the men there, charged with capital murder. Powell charged with attempted murder. Other arrests are still pending. And keep in mind, the FBI is still seeking information on 3 individuals, 2 women and 1 man. And here are their pictures. These are the updated photos of the wanted mass shooting suspects here from the FBI's Jackson field office, of the 2 women and 1 man still being sought by officials, at least as far as we know. This situation, as you know, from when this started and when the FBI got involved over the weekend, has been changing rapidly. What we still don't know at this point is a motive. We have not been given any kind of indication of a motive here at this point. Obviously, with 5 individuals in custody and these investigators working to assist the state, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, that is the lead agency here, we're going to find that out. We're going to learn that. We're hopefully going to learn that either at this news conference that's scheduled to start here in just a few minutes, and also, too, as these suspects make their way through the criminal justice system. You know, once this evidence is put before a grand jury and a grand jury returns an indictment, then when that indictment is released, we'll learn more as well in terms of what investigators know or are willing to disclose at this point that they know about this investigation. And again, as we wait for this press conference to start, we're going to go back and forth showing these pictures because, again, the FBI needs your help. The FBI needs your help in trying to find out who all is responsible, and it's something that we are going to continue to try and help them with. The family members who have lost loved ones here, those who are still fighting for their lives in the hospital, and trying, to it's just a horrible situation all the way around. It looks like things are getting ready to get started now. We're seeing some members of law enforcement gathering behind the podium here as we are waiting for this to get started. We already have a number of you watching on Facebook, also on our YouTube channels or our YouTube channel, excuse me. We also have folks watching on the app and OTT platform. We appreciate all of you watching as we work to learn more information here as well. We're going to be learning what's going on at the same time you are, as these officials give us hopefully an update. There's still a lot of questions in terms of what's happening at this point, in terms of how this could happen, what prompted it, what led to it. And so there's so many things that we still don't know at this point. A lot of folks saying hi here. We have an individual with the Washington County Sheriff's Department. That is Sheriff Gaston right there in Washington County as our photographer, checks his focus. We have the Chief Myrick, I believe that is his name there. I believe he is with Leland Police Department also there. And we have a number of other individuals. I see somebody with the State's Highway Patrol is also there. We are expecting to also see FBI Special Agent in charge of the Jackson Field Office, Robert Eichhoff, as well as the DPS, the Department of Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall, who is expected to be in attendance as well. I would assume that we would also have the Leland mayor there as well. I mean, this is going to be a number of officials here to provide the public with information as we wait for this press conference to begin. It was scheduled to begin at 1 o'clock. But as you know, and we're going to go ahead and I know that's probably making some folks dizzy. I apologize as our photographer is trying to get the scene kind of let there. You know what? Right as I decided to get off of that shot, it looks like we are going to get started. It looks like there are individuals now at the podium who are getting ready to start as soon as we. Good afternoon, everyone. It looks like they're starting now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm Mayor John Lee for the city. We're going to get back to you as soon as this press conference is over with a recap. Again, our live coverage of this press conference regarding the Leland mass shooting.
Sean Tyndall and a host of other fellow state and local partners. Thank you for joining us today as we are all still grieving from the shooting which occurred downtown Leland early Saturday morning. What started out to be a homecoming celebration ended up to be a tragedy that took the lives of several members of our community and affected every one of us. Now is the time to come together so we can make sense of what happened and understand how we can come and prevent anything like this from happening again. I'm so grateful for the first responders who provided immediate aid to all of us involved in the law enforcement agencies who have and continue to provide assistance to our community as we begin to heal. I'm proud of everything that this community has already done to assist law enforcement as they work to understand the events of Saturday morning. But our efforts are not over. Additional information is still needed. And I'd like to introduce you to the Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner, Sean Tyndall, and I encourage you all to join us in this effort.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate those remarks. It's obviously been a tragic day, a tragic week in Mississippi, and it was a tragic weekend last weekend as the events here and across our entire state leave a lot of questions to be answered. Most importantly, why anybody would undertake such senseless acts that would result in the tragic loss of life in various communities, but most largely in the biggest area was Leland and what we saw here. The response was swift. Law enforcement came together and collaborated with multiple agencies leading the way. FBI, ATF, NBI, NBN, the Mississippi Attorney General's Office, the Mississippi Highway Patrol, and of course, your local law enforcement with Leland PD and the Washington County Sheriff's Office. We were on the phone. We talked often. We met with community leaders. The men and women of law enforcement worked tirelessly to find those responsible and try to find justice for the family. But the work is not done. There's still much more that needs to be looked into, many more questions answered. And as a community, we must strive to heal. I can assure you that in my conversations with the governor of the state of Mississippi, he is 100% committed to making sure that weekends like happened last weekend don't happen again. The Department of Public Safety has committed resources to other communities across this state, to communities here as we continue to celebrate homecomings at various events through our colleges and our cities and our schools, to make sure that there's a heavy presence of law enforcement and coordinated efforts so that everybody can celebrate safely. We can do better. We must do better. We will do better. And for those that choose not to, I want you to know that law enforcement will work tirelessly to hold you accountable, to find you a cell that you can spend the rest of your life in until that day that you meet your maker. It has been my honor to work with our SAC, with the FBI, Mr. Robert Eichhoff, for the last couple of years that he's been here. We've met on multiple occasions, trying to discuss ways that we could together collaborate with state, local, and federal law enforcement partners for safer neighborhoods, to solve crimes, and bring those to justice. The FBI has been great in this investigation here in Leland. They have been great to work with across this state. It's my pleasure to work with him. Let me introduce you to him.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Eichhoff, the Special Agent in charge for the FBI Mississippi. Thank you, Commissioner Tyndall, for the introduction. I want to first express my condolences to the people of Leland and all those affected by the violence your community saw this past weekend. I also want to reiterate Mayor Lee's gratitude for the assistance we've already seen and know we will continue to receive. I stand with you today both to shed light on what we know so far and to ask for your assistance as we continue to move forward the investigation. Over the last several days, the FBI has worked hand in hand with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners to ensure we are utilizing all possible resources as we investigate the events of Saturday morning. We've committed to providing you with updates on the investigation as we're able, and I'd like to share what we've learned so far. As a crowd gathered at the intersection of 4th and Main Streets to celebrate homecoming on Friday night, shots rang out shortly after midnight. As a result of the gunfire, we are aware of 26 people who were shot or injured. Of these, at least 19 were shot, resulting in 6 deaths, and 2 of whom are still in critical condition. Thus far, your assistance has been invaluable in the investigation. Many of you have spoken openly with us as we've worked to identify individuals involved in the incident and to clarify facts and circumstances surrounding it. It was with your help and that of our law enforcement partners that we've been able to identify and arrest 9 individuals responsible for this senseless crime. While lost ones can never be replaced, nor can we eliminate the grief friends and families will bear. We will ensure these individuals are held to account for the pain they have caused your community. As of today, despite our collective efforts, some unanswered questions remain. We are asking for your help in finding answers. As we seek to resolve this investigation, we believe there are people who have valuable information who have not yet spoken with law enforcement. We also know that sometimes people may have knowledge, do not immediately come forward. This may be due to their close relationships with others who might be involved, or out of concern for their own safety, reputation, or standing in the community or amongst their friends. We understand these concerns, and we will ensure you have safe avenue for coming forward as you assist in protecting your community. We also know there are times when people are unknowingly brought into a situation by the person or persons responsible. We have the ability to exclude the innocent and identify those who are inadvertently involved. While law enforcement continues to pursue all leads, we must remain vigilant to protect and preserve the safety of the community. Many of you have already provided valuable information, and we thank you for working with us. For those of you we have not yet connected with, we are confident in your ability to help, and we look forward to speaking with you. All information is valuable. Even if you think we are already aware of it, please contact us. Allow us to make that determination. Information can be shared directly by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. I will now pass it over to the ATF resident agent in charge for comments.
Thank you, SAC ICOF. My name is Stephen Bridgman. I'm the resident agent in charge of Oxford, Mississippi, here in North Mississippi. I want to echo some of the same sentiments as we continue to mourn with the community. We feel like we've been here for several days now, and the community has welcomed us. We feel like we're a part of the community now. We appreciate everything that you guys have done so far. We've stood shoulder to shoulder with all of our state, federal, and local partners, but we've also stood shoulder to shoulder with the community. And you all have welcomed us with open arms. People stopped and told us how much they appreciate us being here. They told us thank you. They brought food. They've done things, water, and we really appreciate that. We still need your help moving forward. ATF has brought every resource to bear that we can. We still have everything in our lab. Our lab has been working day and night to produce our product of the DNA analysis of all the evidence that was recovered at the fire at the scene of this incident. We still continue to enter all that information into the NIBIN, which is the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. We're going to get all that in there. And we've also conducted all emergency traces on all the firearms that have been recovered so far. At this point, we're going to bring in some more resources. We're going to bring in some of our canines to help this investigation, but we still need the public's help. We appreciate everything that you've done. We need you all to just help us a little bit more, help us continue this investigation. There's a few things, probably there's a lot of questions that are going to be involved on what type of firearms were there, what calibers. At this point in the investigation, we cannot release that, but hopefully in due time, we'll be able to answer all your questions. At this point in time, I'll turn it back over to SAC ICOF.
The victims, families, and the community have been scarred by this tragedy. The FBI and 15 agencies with whom we've been working tirelessly in partnership hope our work will help the healing process. We will now open it up for questions.
I have a question for the police chief. How you doing, Chief?
How you doing?
How do you respond to the claims that officers were there but didn't step in?
That was negative accusation. Who was on scene when it happened? Myself was on scene, and that's negative. What anybody told you?
Do we know if there is a motive for the shooting at this time?
Go ahead.
Do we know if the victims and suspects, if they knew each other? Was it random?
I can advise that at this time.
Do we know whether the people who have been arrested were shooting at each other, or do we know if they were working together in some capacity?
There's something else I can advise.
Judge, the suspects, have they been involved in your department before?
Can advise that either. Cannot advise that.
So we know that I noticed two of the suspects has the same last name as one of the victims.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what that relationship is at this time?
Do we know or do you know?
Are you able to release what that relationship
No,
is at this
I'm
time?
not gonna give that out.
So what do you say to residents who feel like they're not getting anything from you all about this incident?
Could you repeat that question again?
What do you say to residents who feel like residents are saying they're not being let in on any information about what happened? What do you say to those?
The investigation is still under investigation. I think at the time when it closed, we can give out all the information they need.
So does it appear to be just a random shooting then at this time?
At this moment, I can't advise it.
Laura with the Leland Progress. Can you please advise residents what's being done while it's under an active investigation to ensure our safety as residents? Is there extra police presence out? Like, what is happening on that front?
Well, with the agencies that came in to assist, we do have extra police presence, and later in life we're going to have more police presence so that the event won't happen again.
Of the 9 people who have been arrested, can you tell us what their charges are? I know some of them you're familiar with already, but there are some new ones.
I can advise that.
The Madison County Patrol Unit was here yesterday. Can you tell us what they were doing out here?
Who?
The Madison County Patrol.
They came to assist with this matter.
So of the new arrests, that's public information. How can we find out what they're being charged with?
Well,
In terms of those who've been arrested, as they've made had their initial appearance before the court, then we have released that information. So I believe that upwards of 5 or 6 have been released to date, and there's some others that we anticipate to be released in the near future. And as more come, then we will release those after that point in time as well. There's a question about Madison County. That was their command bus, so that was to help us in terms of our crisis management command post.
And these are state charges being handled here in Washington.
So we have been fortunate to work very closely with our partners, and MBN has taken the lead for getting those state charges. They've worked tirelessly from when this first started up until now to get the appropriate legal process for us to advance our investigation and for us to get those arrest warrants. And some of those do include capital murder.
That's here in Washington.
We need to clear something up. Jackson Advocate newspaper. There are words that the chief of police from Greenville's son was picked up. Is it any truth to that?
I don't have any information to that effect.
Do we know if they're...
What will you all be doing to increase law enforcement presence during these other homecoming events that will be going on throughout the state?
Well, we've been in conversations with other jurisdictions, counties, local police departments, school districts, as well as IHL has reached out to us about assisting at our colleges and our community colleges. So we will have an additional presence of Mississippi Highway Patrol, as well as some of our other assets with the Bureau of Narcotics, Homeland Security, even Capitol Police has come out to help in some of the events. So we'll have plainclothes individuals as well as a greater presence of patrol units where we can. Now, we only have so many agents that we can spend out across the state. But in addition to that, we've also volunteered to work with, particularly through our Office of Homeland Security, any department or school that wants to do a security assessment, look at what they're doing for homecoming events, try to make for a safer environment during those events. We've offered those services and willing to do that at any point. And even just a couple months ago, meeting with Sheriff Gaston here, having that line of communication so that if an incident like this occurs, if they have a question or need additional assistance, every sheriff and chief in this state has my cell phone number. They can call and we can coordinate those efforts.
One more question, please.
I'm sorry?
What could have been done to prevent this mass shooting in this small building?
Well, that's the question of why, right? And I think that's one that every community needs to look at itself too and ask what's going on in our communities that lead to this. And it's certainly not something that I think law enforcement alone is going to solve. We need to look at mental health in this state. We need to look at juvenile delinquency and how that's handled. And the communities need to start really looking inward and saying, what can we do as communities to change the lives of these individuals that are taking these actions? You have one more question.
I have a question for Leland Police Chief. How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Well, how you going now? Okay, before all this happened, there was shootings, there was people breaking people's houses, stealing cars, and all this. Why wasn't there more presence, even if you wasn't scared there was going to be shootings, that there was going to be break-ins of people's vehicles and stolen vehicles? Because from my knowledge, some of the people that was doing the shooting or whatever over here was over here in stolen vehicles. So what assurance do we have that all this is going to stop or either come to a close? Because from my understanding, these people are constantly getting back out on the streets.
I understand that. We can't stop it. We can slow it down. But with more police presence that we're going to have in the future, you probably won't have to ask that question anymore.
Are the suspects from Leland? Do we know?
I can advise that.
How can we get the mugshot?
Thank you all. I'll be sending out a press release shortly to all of your major news stations. Thank you all for attending today.
Will the mugshots be included?
All right, you've been watching this press conference here, and of course, we just lost video there, but you've been watching that press conference of the Leland mass shooting from federal and state officials. The press conference is lasting almost 20 minutes, and we heard not only from the DPS commissioner, Sean Tyndall, the Department of Public Safety commissioner, but we also heard from the FBI special agent in charge of FBI Jackson, Robert Eichhoff. There are some things that we've learned. I think the biggest thing that we've learned at this point is that at this point, 9 people have been arrested. Now, we don't have full charges. We hope to have that information at some point. I want to show you some more video of the scene here from our Quentin Smith, who got some. You could even see there a bullet still on the street there in Main Street where this happened late Friday, early Saturday. Again, that mass shooting, killing 6 and injuring 10 others. As we heard today from Sean Tyndall, he called this event a tragic week, or tragic day in Mississippi, a tragic weekend. It's a lot of questions still to be answered. He commended the response of multiple agencies, FBI, ATF, MBI, MBN, the Attorney General's Office, the state's Highway Patrol, and of course Leland Police, and the Washington County Sheriff's Department. They've met with community leaders. Department of Safety, Public Safety has committed resources. He says we will do better and we will work tirelessly to hold those responsible accountable, to find you a cell that you can spend the rest of your life in until the day you meet your maker. Those are the words of Commissioner Sean Tyndall. Robert Eichhoff, the special agent in charge, was saying that what we know at this point is that they have arrested 9 people. Here's what they've learned thus far. A crowd gathered at the intersection of 4th and Main Streets to celebrate homecoming on Friday night. Shots rang out shortly after midnight as a result of the gunfire. He says, and again, I'm going to play this back while I'm I want to make sure that I'm actually hearing this correctly. Yeah. He said we were aware of 26 people who were either shot or injured when this happened. So that is an increase from what we originally knew. Of those, at least 19 were shot, resulting in 6 deaths. 2 people are still in critical condition. He said that they have gotten all kinds of tips and assistance from people as this investigation has unfolded. And because of that, they've been able to identify and arrest 9 people responsible. He did not say in terms of charges. There's a lot that we don't know. He didn't elaborate on what those charges would be. He didn't elaborate on other aspects of the investigation. You probably saw the police chief of Leland, Jimmy Myrick, being asked various variations of questions on whether or not there was a motive, whether or not those involved were from Leland, whether or not they knew the victims, whether or not they knew each other. Law enforcement has not given us any indication of any answers to any of that. And that doesn't mean that they're intentionally trying to be obstructive. But again, with this being an ongoing investigation, they have not felt comfortable to release certain aspects of that at this time. Typically, what you'll see in these investigations, especially when federal agents are involved, that law enforcement will kind of play their cards kind of close to the vest, you might say, not really giving any kind of indication of what they have until they're comfortable that what they release is not going to jeopardize that case. I'm going back through here my notes on what the special agent in charge said. He said that some people may have knowledge and haven't immediately come forward, but he encourages folks to do so. Many have already provided very valuable information. And again, you can provide that information, and we're going to put that up, that number up on the screen here, along with the, sort of the biggest headline from today. You call 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to tips.fbi.gov if you have any information regarding this Leland mass shooting that happened late Friday night, early Saturday morning. We also heard from the ATF representative, resident agent in charge, Stephen Bridgman. He said that they have been doing some work in terms of their lab, DNA analysis of the evidence they recovered. They've been using what's called NIBIN. It's the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network, and it's a tool that federal officials can use to run information from bullets, from shell casings, in some cases firearms themselves, and they can go against national databases very quickly and coordinate and figure out what, they can learn a lot more information about these various types of evidence that they have and trying to piece together what happened that night. They've also conducted traces on firearms that have been recovered. They're going to be bringing in more resources, canines, to help investigate. He thanked the public. They have not released what type of firearms were used, what calibers, but in due time, they want to be able to answer those questions. Again, we were not able to say at this point whether or not there was a motive, whether or not these suspects were involved, had priors in Leland or other parts of the state. We don't know the relationship of these individuals to each other or to the victims or to anybody else who was gathered there at on the Main Street and 4th location where all of this went down. I know we're just now getting to it, but I want to get to some of your comments. Many of you saying this when the press conference started, we couldn't really say them at that point. Britt saying good afternoon. Britt, good to see you too. Letitia Woods saying afternoon, everyone, and also sad. It is. The entire situation is very sad. Suzanne Davis asking, has it been announced where the captured suspects are from? Local, out of state? We don't know. You heard our reporter Quentin Smith, who's up there in Leland right now, who's covering this today, asking them that question, and they did not give him any indication of anything. Many people wondering that. Melanie Riley wondering that as well. Deborah Collins saying this is sad what these people are doing with firearms. Lawan Hicks saying prayer hands for the families who were involved in this tragedy. Sheikah Hampton, a whole bunch of hearts. I wish that those of you who weren't watching on Facebook could see all the hearts here, because it's uplifting on a day like this. We appreciate you, Sheikah, for doing that. Fred Barnes, from the looks of this news conference, it might be a good idea to also bring mosquito spraying truck to this accident scene. I'm going to tell you something. If you've never been to the Mississippi Delta, mosquitoes there are oh my goodness, that it doesn't matter how many layers of clothing you have, those mosquitoes could carry you off. It's just something about that area and mosquitoes that they just a little bit more worrisome out there than they are in other parts of the state. And you probably saw during the press conference folks doing this and just trying to swat them away as they were trying to get this information out. Sheikah Hampton saying my condolences go out to the family, and we appreciate those words. I know the family certainly appreciates the public support at this point. Johnson, Linda Percy saying no one feels safe, ban firearm and assault weapons. In America, we need a point of return in order to start over. That's not an isolated point. A lot of people are feeling that way. And of course, you've got folks on both sides of that issue that will say that it's not guns, that it's, the individuals involved. And that's not a debate I'm going to wade into, but we know that the debate's there. We know that, whenever things like this happen, that it certainly, rekindles those positions. And we will see whether or not this incident results in any changes here in Mississippi. Patancy Miller Hampton, as a Leland resident, she says, I am so very sorry this happened. I have taught some of the victims and my heart bleeds. That is heartbreaking. And we appreciate you sharing that. It's a horrible situation. What we know at this point, those victims identified as 41-year-old Orishama Johnson, 19-year-old Calvin Plant, 25-year-old Shelbyana Powell, and 18-year-old Caslin Johnson. Two more died on Saturday, 18-year-old Amos Brantley Jr. and 34-year-old Jamichael Jones. Now, Quentin asked an interesting question, too. He asked whether or not one of the suspects was related to one of the individuals, because Shelbyana Powell was one of the victims here. But as you may know from our coverage, when we talk about the number of those arrested, and again, we only have 5 arrested at this point officially. They have not released names to us, but one of the individuals, and I'm trying to scroll to find it to make sure I'm getting this right for you, but one of the 5 that was arrested was, the last name was also Powell. And that's what Quentin kind of alluded to. And he was asking about that, whether or not the two were related. LaToya Powell, and then Shelbyana Powell was one of the victims. And Shelbyana is younger than LaToya. So we don't know if there's a relationship there. We don't know if they were family members, or we don't know any of that. So it's a lot that we don't know. And I know that's frustrating because we want to know. We want to know what's going on. Janice Walker saying this is so sad, makes you scared to go anywhere. And you never know what's going to happen. That's exactly right. Patancy Miller Hampton saying the Powells are related. We have not been able to independently confirm that, but Ms. Miller Hampton, I appreciate you letting us know. And of course, we're going to follow up on that. We'll get that information to our reporter at the scene, and we'll definitely see if he can follow up as well. But this is a horrible situation. And before we let you go and give you another opportunity to be able to kind of get your opinions out there, I want to show you this as we close. And again, these might be outdated because some of these individuals may already be in custody, but it's the most recent information that we have from the FBI. And so we want to at least put it out one more time. Again, these are the 3 individuals that we were given updated photos of earlier this week. 2 women and a man who are still wanted, at least at the time that this was released, were wanted for questioning or wanted as possible suspects. We don't know if they have been the ones that have been taken into custody at this point. We hope to find that out. You heard a spokesperson for the FBI telling reporters that they were going to try to get that information to us. We probably won't get mugshots because the federal authorities typically don't release those. So if you ever look at a story, whenever we have, federal charges, and somebody gets on there and says, okay, I see what's happening. We're not going to get pictures of this person because of X reason. If it's a federal case, they don't ever give us mugshots. They don't ever release that stuff. I wish they would, but they don't. They don't let us bring cameras into federal courtrooms. They don't let us, there are certain restrictions we have when it comes to federal cases. And one thing we don't get is, we don't get mugshots, which is why whenever we're covering federal court, that's why you always see footage of people, the people who are on trial going into court and or coming out of court, because it's the only time we're actually able to get video of that. One more comment from Patancy Miller Hampton. Pray for Leland. A lot of people are. And it's, we hope to have more information and be able to share that with you as we learn it. Before we let you go, we want to give you a word from our sponsor, Jackson Water. But we really appreciate all of you watching today. Again, if you missed some part of this, once this live ends, you can go back and watch it and see some of those questions that were asked at this press conference. And again, keep in mind that when you see this story, air tonight from our Quentin Smith, when you see this story on WLBT.com, please keep in mind that if there's information that is not released, it's not because we're withholding it. It's because these officials, federal agents, statewide officials, the Leland police chief, have decided for whatever reason not to release it to the public yet. It is our position, it is my position as the lead investigative reporter here, that we release everything to the public once we get it. That we don't want to hold anything back. And so if you look at a story on our website and there are things that you don't understand and there are things that are missing, it's not because we're trying to hide that from you. It's because, unfortunately, the police department, the agency, the investigator has not deemed it worthy to share that with us. And so, I wish they would. I err on the side of transparency. I'd rather us know everything we can. And so I hope that we will learn more details and that we'll be able to get answers. There are so many questions that remain unanswered this afternoon. At 2:30, we have our First Alert weather team that's going to be in here to give you an update on the First Alert weather days that are coming up this weekend and the chance for rain and the chance for possible storms that has changed, but it still seems to be, the timing seems to be in the overnight hours, Saturday into Sunday. So please keep that in mind. For everyone here at WLBT, I'm CJ LeMaster. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you back here. The First Alert weather team will see you back here at 2:30. Thank you.
To pour fats, oils, and greases down the drain if I run hot water? No! What if I run the garbage disposal? No! How about if I use dish soap at the same time? No! Instead, hang on to a few containers to store and toss old cooking fat and grease once you're done. Jackson Water. Water for all the time.